All right, everybody. I think we are ready to get the party started. So happy Thursday. We're going to be talking today about the recession-proof revenue model. And I think you're going to get a lot out of this visit. So if you have a question, go ahead. There's a little button you can click that says raise hand and jot in your question, and we'll be sure to make sure we cover that. Pardon me. Uh, my throat needs some moisture. So let me grab a little sip of water here. And so, one of the things that I want to talk about today is where we are in our economy. Hmm. Pardon me. Paul, you should do that before the call. You're right, I should. Um, so, right now, there's some interesting stuff going on. And um, one of those things is, and I don't know how much of this stuff you pay attention to, but right now the fast food joints are struggling with their breakfasts. And that is typically a leading indicator of some volatility coming through the economy. Now, what that means for us is we want to make sure that we're always positioning ourselves where the puck is going, right? So if the puck is heading here, then we want to make sure that we're heading there. If the puck is currently here, but it's progressing there, we don't want to be going to where it is. We want to be going to where it is going. Wayne Gretzky said that when he was asked, "How are you so successful?" He said, "I always skated to where the puck was going." So in 2008, while most sales professionals were getting crushed by the recession, a small group of reps actually tripled their income. They weren't smarter, they weren't working harder, they just understood one thing that everybody else missed. Side note, that was my first seven-figure business, was right before that crisis. We were positioned absolutely perfect to not take advantage of it, but to really do a lot of good during that time. And we're seeing the exact same trends right now. So what they did is, in the thing that they missed is when businesses are panicking, right? So businesses are freaking out. Another good way to say panic. Let me just move some stuff around here, and we'll get drawing. I'm kind of a visual person, as some of you know, so you get my little squiggles. All right. So what we want to do here is make some more room. And here's the takeaway, okay? When businesses panic, right? This is like a crazy ah, right? This is panic. When they do that, they do not stop spending. Like most people think this happens. That is not what happens. They don't stop spending. They redirect their spend. And right now, we're seeing that exact same pattern unfold. Corporate hiring freezes, SMBs shifting from growth mode to survival mode, sales quotas getting uh, changed. You may have even felt some of that. Is your company adjusting your quota? Do you sense uncertainty? And here's what's different this time. You have about a 6-month window to position yourself on the winning side. And where's that? That's right here. That's you. Okay? To position yourself on the winning side of what we have going on right now in the marketplace. Okay? So, um, and if you miss it, you're going to just spend the next couple 3 years, you're going to be fighting for scraps, and it's not going to be fun. If you catch it, you're going to be recurring. You're going to be generating recurring. You're going to be cashing and collecting recurring checks. while everybody else is updating their LinkedIn profiles, trying to find another gig. Okay. So today I want to show you the exact model that our clients are using to lock in 5 to 25K per month in recession-proof income, utilizing the sales skills that you already have. So this is for folks that are sales professionals, agency owners, coming out of white collar business owners. Everybody in those categories has sales skills, right? So often I talk about sales professionals, but really we're all sales professionals. Okay. So here's the first mistake. Let's dive right in. Is that cool? Numero uno. Okay. Mistake number one. And that is this: chasing new logos when everyone's freezing budgets. You like that? Chasing new logos when everybody's freezing budgets. What does that mean? Well, here's the mistake. The problem is you're still playing the traditional sales game. So, uh, how can we represent that? So, here's a horse, the world's worst horse drawing, and here's you riding on the horse, or hopefully you're smarter than the average bear, so you're not riding on a horse. But this represents the traditional frameworks, right? How things used to be done. And while people are still playing the traditional sales game, hunting for new deals, hunting for contracts, resetting their commissions every month, resetting their quotas, looking for new opportunities, while CFOs and SMBs are literally locking down every single penny. They're locking down every single penny right now. So you're fishing in a pond that's rapidly drying up. And that's a big problem. Okay? So instead, it's important that we understand that we don't want to be fishing in a pond that's getting smaller, right? If this is the pond now, this is the pond in a month, this is the pond in another month. It's just shrinking. More CEOs are comfortable talking about how they're not planning on hiring. What's the inverse of not planning on hiring? They're not saying we're looking to lay off, but what they're doing is they're optimizing for AI. There's one company I read about whose team wasn't, this is a Fortune 100 company or Fortune 500 company, whose team wasn't adopting AI fast enough. He literally laid off 95% of them and hired, I think, 25% new people who were going to embrace it because he knew our future lies in AI. If we don't adopt, we're dead. So we don't want to be fishing in ponds that are shrinking. What we want to do is, and here's how this shows up. We're trained to think more activity equals more commissions, more product, more production, right? More activity, more results. So when deals slow down, what do? We use the same tool, but we just use that tool faster and more. So we double our cold calls. We double our networking. We triple our outreach. And we burn ourselves out chasing prospects who can't even buy no matter how good your pitch is. So we're in a losing environment, right? And this represents not thinking. This represents not utilizing your God-given brain and intelligence. Because again, the difference between a ditch digger and a multimillionaire is how they think. So where's the puck going? Are we skating towards the puck? Or are we just doing the same thing we've always done faster? And now we're sweating when we're cold calling. And we're losing weight because we're taking so much activity. And we're like a corpse that a vampire sucked all the blood out of. Like our skin's translucent, right? We're not sleep. That's what we're doing. And that's just dumb. Like, let's not be dumb. So the fix is stop hunting for new budget and start redirecting existing spend. That's something you ought to write down. You ought to think deeply about, right? The first thing we talked about was how In times of volatility, the business owners, they're spending. They're just redirecting it from thing A to thing B. Okay. And so you want to stop hunting for new budget and start redirecting existing spend. How do you do that? Well, right now, businesses are cutting growth investments. Okay. But they're increasing spend on three specific areas. Area number one, revenue protection. Revenue protection. Okay. And we'll explain what these are in a minute. Number two, cost reduction. And number three, compliance risk management. These areas are getting plenty of spend. What's revenue protection? Simple things like, are they missing calls? If they're missing calls and they fix that, they are now protecting their revenue because missed calls equal lost revenue. It's money just sitting on the table. If their speed to lead isn't dialed in and optimized, meaning when a new prospect reaches out for my phone just rang. Sorry, got myself a little distracted. I got to start over. Hey, y'all, my name's Paul. Happy Thursday. I'm just kidding. If an existing prospect is Google searching or responding to a marketing message or actively seeking a solution, and that business can't catch that and process that properly and serve that prospect immediately, that prospect is shifting to someone else in the market who can. We're at the point where whoever the fastest business to respond is typically winning. Missed revenue, revenue production, cost reduction. What does that look like? Well, that is what things that our humans are doing that AI can do, not so that we can let the humans go, but so we can elevate them into doing the things that they're best at doing, right? And risk management. So these aren't nice to haves in this economy and where this economy is going. These are must haves. They're survival essentials, just as important as shelter, food, water, right? Maslow's hierarchy. And so the money's already allocated. It's already earmarked. It's already being funded and going to sales professionals. It's just you need to position yourself as the solution to their new priority problems. Again, you don't want to be selling what was effective yesterday. Don't build your income based on the rear view mirror. You need to be aware, market aware, and offering the most robust and potent solution for where the puck is skating, for what they need now, for what they're going to need next month and next quarter. Okay? So number one, chasing new logos when everyone's freezing budget. What's a new logo? It's a new business. You're just doing the same thing, you're just doing it faster. What is mistake number two? Well, number two is selling one-time offers versus recurring offers. Okay, we've talked a lot about this. Selling one-time solutions in a recurring crisis. That's it. Selling one-time solutions in a recurring crisis. What does that mean? The problem here is you're still thinking in terms of one-time deals, projects, transactions, but in a downturn, the businesses need ongoing support, not another vendor. They need somebody who is in the trenches with them, who's partnering with them, who's consulting them on a monthly basis, not a drive-by solution, right? Because when we head into times of uncertainty, the market requires leadership. And leadership isn't a one-off thing. So what are you selling? What service or product are you selling? Is it a legacy thing? Or are you right there at the heartbeat of the market, on the cutting edge of where money is looking to flow to? You just need to line yourself up where there's already money flows into the market. Right? If this is a river of money, Are you hunting over here or are you hunting here? And that's your choice. Think and grow rich. Not cold call, prospect harder, job hop and grow rich. Okay. So how it shows up is traditional B2B sales trains us for the big win, the enterprise deal, the annual contract. But the SMBs in survival mode, they think in 30-day increments. They won't commit big upfront investments, but they will pay 5K a month for something keeping them alive. They will pay 5K a month for something that is directly hitting their profit and loss. They will pay 5K a month for something that is minting money into their bank without them having to change, learn, add, manage new process software systems. They will pay 5K a month for business insurance. They're happy to pay 5K a month for a plan that keeps them viable, thriving, and growing when everybody else is heading in the opposite direction. So the fix is revenue stacking. Okay. And we've talked about this as well. You want to lead in with something that is a killer value to the business. And then once they're experiencing that result, then you stack on top of that additional things that can serve them well. Right? So you start with one core service, 3 to 5K a month that solves their biggest problems, their biggest bleeding neck problem. Once you prove value for 60 days, stack on an additional service, second service, a third service. One client paying you 5K becomes a client paying you 10K, client paying you 15K. 3 clients at full stack, that's 45K a month. This isn't about more clients. It's about going deeper with the right ones, helping them unlock more value out of their existing business, helping them position themselves to be a market dominator versus barely get by. That's what you bring to the table as a profit consultant. By the way, if you'd like our help with this, we have a complete system that teaches you how to generate appointments with qualified business owners, teaches you how to convert those into these kind of deals, and we handle the fulfillment. So it allows you to stay in the lane, which is the highest profit lane that any of us could be in, which is the conversion or the rainmaking. It's relatively easy to generate qualified appointments. The fulfillment, and it's relatively easy to convert, quite honestly. But this allows us to stay in that lane of highest production, right? Because you could be spending your time organically going out and trading your time for appointments, or you could just build an engine, a machine that is very consistent, very predictable. You can master a simple process to convert, and then you can hire a full-time sales professional, commission only. And then you don't have to worry about the technical learning curve and the change in the technology every other damn day. You want level 3 devs handling that fulfillment because that represents your recurring income. And you don't want to be putzing around in that department because it's an opportunity cost. When you're doing tech, what are you not doing? You're not making it rain. And so in the same way that a college, you can pay tuition either upfront or you can leverage financing, our program works the same way. If you're looking to leverage financing, you're looking at about $450 a month, plus or minus, depending on how you qualify. And if you'd like to talk with us about that, feel free to book a 15-minute call. There's plenty of links in our Skool community under our YouTube videos. And during that call, you cannot get started even if you want to. So you can leave your credit card in the fridge. Now, when I say that, some people misunderstand that to think our thing is free. No, our thing is not free because you get what you pay for. Our Skool group maps out our process, but if you want our help and you want our technical team and you want our fulfillment and you want us to build you and install these systems, you're going to pay for it, okay? So just to be clear, if you finance it, you're looking at about $450 a month for your AI, your marketing, perhaps your software, your technology, your support. And again, if you want to talk about it, let us know because we eat 20K a month recurring income for breakfast, okay? 50K is lunch, 100K a month dinner. So, and there's nobody on this call or seeing this information that can't be at 10 to 15K a month within the next 2 to 3 months. If you can follow a system and if you just execute, if you don't get all distracted by chasing shiny objects and take yourself out of a winning lane and put yourself into a kindergarten in a new lane of like technology and learning all this crap and building all this crap, and instead just like in essence step into a franchise and just execute. If you do that, then you're very close to hitting some pretty mind-boggling numbers. Okay, again, that's not a promise, that's not a guarantee. It's the reality of what's happening, what people are doing. I can't guarantee that you will do what they did. So I'm putting out the disclaimers with that. So first thing is we chase logos, right? When everybody's freezing budgets. Second thing is we're selling one-time solutions during a recurring crisis. Mistake number 3, targeting everyone. Now this one, y'all, this one is, it saddens me, to be honest, because I'm a business guy. I love the entrepreneur. I love the business owner. And but this is the reality. Targeting everyone when only 20% are going to survive. There's this principle called the Pareto principle, 80, 20. 80% of the yield comes from 20% of the inputs. 80% of the outputs comes from 20% of the inputs. Sometimes it's framed as 95, 5. 5% of the inputs equals 95% of the outputs. And the problem, and this is what's kind of hard to say, but I think if you just put on your thinking cap and look around, and perhaps businesses you've worked at or customers you've serviced or businesses you've been a patron of, you'll see there's just some businesses that that aren't going to make it. They're just stuck in the old ways. They're unwilling to change, and they're already dead. They just don't know it yet. And so the problem is you're wasting energy on businesses that are already dead, and they just don't know it yet. The zombie companies are going to string you along. They're going to try to negotiate everything, and they're going to still go under, you know, own you money on the contract that they signed up for. So why it shows up? Well, when we're desperate, we lower our standards. And when deals dry up, we start saying yes to anyone with a pulse in a checkbook. And that's foolish. But 80% of these SMBs, like, look at the data. Within 5 years, what percentage of businesses don't fail? That was the data pre-AI. So if you think I'm blowing smoke, go do your own research. Within 5 years, the vast majority of businesses don't make it. That was pre-AI. So what do you think's happening now? Especially what we're seeing is there's pockets of SMBs that are deploying these systems and they're dominating their market. They are literally putting other businesses out of business because of the superiority of their tooling. And unfortunately, the best craftsmen who produce the best result are typically those businesses where the owner is the technician. He's a craftsman or she's a craftsman. They really care and they do good work, but they're not a business person. Those folks are getting destroyed right now by the people who probably don't do as good of work in some cases, but they just have the superiority of tooling. Same way that the sword beat the club, or the guys in tanks beat the guys on horses. That's what's happening. And I would strongly encourage you to sit with that thought and think about it, pray about it, unpack it. So when deals dry up, we start saying yes to anybody with a pulse and a checkbook. But again, a lot of these SMBs are just not going to make it. So when you hitch your wagon to them, it's career suicide. And I would even challenge you that if you're hitching your wagon to a company you're working for that cuts your checks, and they don't have their stuff dialed in, you ought to be running in the other direction. And you ought to be having a contingency plan. Because that's the other thing we're seeing is right now there's a lot of companies that are scrambling because what most people don't realize is the business is dealing with 3 primary issues. And I'm talking about the business that you're working for. Okay. So the first thing is the competition. The second thing is their clients or customers. And then the third thing is their people. So what I mean by that, your company, if they're smart, they're looking around and seeing what their competitors are doing. How are their competitors doing business, acquisition, lead gen, conversion, and product or service? Are the competitors tooling in AI into the product or service? Are the competitors leveraging AI to deliver it faster, cheaper, cleaner, better? First thing. Second thing is your company is wondering how is AI in the economy affecting your clients and customers? And if you're B2B, then your leadership is thinking, how is the end consumer affecting the B2B? That's your company's customer. Because there's vast swaths of job types, people types that are being impacted. And so the leadership, if they're smart, are thinking about, holy crap, this thing is going on over here, and those people are our clients' customers. So what does that mean for the viability of our client? And then the third thing is internally, right? They want to adopt AI, but their people don't. And so what we're doing is we're seeing quiet sabotage. That's why we always lead with something that isn't reliant on the team to be successful. We own the outcome, which makes it a lot easier for the business owners anyway. But the point is your company and any SMB, if they're smart, has these things going on. These vectors of concern, fear, opportunity. Okay? And so what you want to do is you don't want to hitch your wagon to the wrong crew. That includes the SMBs that you can deliver value to or the company that you work for. We were talking to somebody recently and they were making 30 grand a month. They had started with this company and they were a salesperson. They would close deals. Well, the ad agency for that company, something happened and everything broke. Overnight, that dude was now responsible for self-generating his own leads and getting his own business. What do you think happened to his income? How do you think he felt about that company? That's not what they signed. That's not what he signed up for. It doesn't matter, right? If you don't cut the check, they can change anything on you at any point. So don't think just because you got an agreement that these companies are going to abide by those terms. They can change anything at any time. Do you feel confident building your future on that? Taking care of your family, taking care of your kids? Hopefully not. And hopefully you don't find this offensive. Hopefully you're like, damn, there's another way. That's awesome. And again, whether it's with us or whomever, it doesn't matter. The key is you've got one of the most valuable skill sets on planet Earth, the ability to talk to people, close them, enroll them, deliver value in such a way and communicate in such a way that they're happy trading their money for your offer. Now, here's the other part of that. You got to make sure that you're backing an offer that's a winning offer. That's part of sales because your offer has more of an impact on your outcome than your skill set. You ought to write that one down. Your offer has more of an impact on your outcome than your sales skill set. You don't want to be the person that can sell ice to Eskimos. You want to be a moron that can sell ice to Eskimos because you have some type of a machine that does something that they've never seen in their entire lives. If you had the cure for cancer, you could be a moron and you'd be a billionaire because of the offer, the potency of the offer. So as a sales professional, you ought to be thinking more about that than anything else. And knowing what I know today, there's very few things that I would sell. All of the legacy products and services, any type of equipment, any type of commoditized offer, your insurances, your real estate, where there's just a billion people doing all this crap, not crap. I don't, that That is a little rude. Paul, that's rude. Don't be a rude dude. So you get my point, okay? Those things are needed, but if you're here and you're even thinking about this stuff, I think you have a higher and better use of your skill set. And you want to make sure that you're representing something that is a leveraged offer that delivers value. What's value to a business owner? Money in the bank, man. And so once you have a potent offer, a leveraged offer, then you don't need to be an Einstein salesperson. Do you see what I'm saying there? It's like the cart before the horse. If you can, there's two ways you can sell, right? You can be the superstar, right? You can be Popeye, or you can let the spinach do the heavy lifting. That's it, which is the offer, right? It's either you or the offer. Now, if you're smart, and I think you are, then you'll recognize that if an enrollment is a function of the offer, then the thing that will make you money the fastest and the most leveraged is getting that right. Okay? So understanding that a very small percentage of these businesses are going to thrive, not because I'm saying it, but because it's the reality. And you don't want to be hitching your wagon to the wrong ones, because here's the other thing that we don't talk about very often is in the same way that you can stack income, one of the income stacks that we promote is a percentage of the upside. So at a certain point, you can approach that business owner when you've built trust. And what's trust? It's real simple. Money. That's why we're profit consultants. Okay? And that's why we're not technology consultants. They could care less about the tech, especially when you understand what's already going on in their mind. Tech equals pinch, pain, frustration. And what do you do with those things? Do you lean into them? Do you go spend your free time in the thing that's paining you and pinching you and frustrating you? No, we try to think about something that makes us feel better. So when you approach them the wrong way, you're already dead in the water. The way you deliver value and establish credibility and trust with the business owner is you simply just deliver profit to them. And when you do that, that is the key to retention and the key to minimization of churn, because they can see it, unlike a copier or some type of an insurance policy or some type of enterprise software that AI is going to displace in the next 6 months. Like I'm telling you, and I don't say this again, I'm not trying to be offensive. I want to speak the truth to you in love. There's very few things in their current form that will, in this arena that we're talking about, okay, like food and all that kind of stuff, but software, the commoditization of services, right? Any kind of sales that is like car sales, any of that sales where the consumer can just kind of, choose their own adventure. All of the CEOs are planning on how they can lever up the use of generative and now agentic AI and how they can reduce commissionable humans. Because the other thing that's happening is as people are laid off, they are now willing to work for less. Right? So if you're in a pocket at a car dealership and you've got a bunch of people on commission and you've got a company that lays off a whole bunch of their people, white collar people, or heck, entry level, like do the research. It's almost impossible for college graduates to get white collar entry level jobs right now because AI has displaced all that. So let's say you got a company that lays people off, super highly qualified people. They're going to go willing to sell cars at a salary without the commission, which is much more effective on the P&L. So just understand where we're at and think about it. Okay. And so when you can get into the relationship and build enough equity and depth of equity that you can now introduce solutions and they give you a piece of the business, now you're building a portfolio of business partners. Think about that for a minute. Now you've transcended salary entirely. Now you have load balanced your income across multiple businesses that you have almost the equivalent of an equity stake. You're a profit partner. So profit consultancy becomes profit partnership. Cool? I saw a hand raised a few minutes ago. So if you have any questions, pop them in, raise a hand, we'll get to them. So targeting everybody when, again, a very small percentage is going to thrive. So you don't want to hit your wagon to them. Okay. The fix, the thriver test. Okay. There's 3 non-negotiable indicators that really separate the 20% from the 80% who are going to thrive. Number 1, the leadership is an old dog willing to learn new tricks. Number 2, they deliver value to the marketplace. They care about their clients, their customers, their patients. And you can see that show up with how they do business and what people say about them and how they feel about them. And then number 3, they're actively advertising. The days of passively waiting on referrals are over and have been over. You can supplement, you can engineer into a business process the gathering of referrals, but the businesses that are going to be around are the ones that have figured out how to convert money and advertising into customers, clients, patients through an acquisition machine and engine. And the cool thing is for us is that those people who are marketing, advertising, understand the value of it, have it relatively figured out, are the easiest to get a massive lift with leveraged AI and our profit AI systems. So you want to be working with companies that have those 3 thriver tests that you can check them off, and only work with businesses that pass all 3, right? It's a smaller pool, but they pay premium prices for premium support while everybody else races to the bottom. I learned this from Dan Kennedy 25 years ago. If you're going to own a steak restaurant, you do not want to be the second most expensive. You want to be the most expensive. Then that way you're playing in an entirely different pool because you're not dealing with the race to the bottom, which is right now what we're seeing with just about everybody who is selling commoditized AI services, which I've been talking about for 18 months now. And not to toot my own horn, but it's if you know how to think, you can spot these things quite easily because it's not rocket science. It's human behavior and market patterns. And so what you don't want to do is, you're charging $4.99 and then someone comes in and they're charging $3.99, and then someone offshore, some company develops a BPO in the Philippines or China or India, and now they can charge $49 for the same thing that a US based company has to charge. This is stupid. Dumb. Ass, right? That's a horse. That's a donkey. You want to be $49.99, $5K, and have a relationship with that business owner where when all these people call, they refer those solutions and services to you. And that's what happens because the business owner is very pragmatic and practical. If they're working with you, think about this with me. Okay? This is easy. This isn't difficult stuff. If they're investing 5K into you, and let's just say they're getting 30K out. Okay? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5x. Do you understand that there is a huge asymmetrical risk for them to change that? So the way that looks is this way. This represents asymmetrical risk, the input versus the output. And what we want is we want this in our favor. Little input, big output. But for the business owner, if they unplug from the 5K thing, they potentially are going to potentially lose out on whatever they're making from the service. They're going to potentially lose out on. That's a massive risk. That's $360,000 a year. Over the course of 3 years, that's close to $1 million. And these business owners understand that. So once you get them hooked on the profit, then you don't have to worry about them going anywhere. They don't migrate. They come home to roost. So what that does is it just solidifies your earnings and your income. And you can then build, and you're not starting every month from zero. You're going up. And again, when you get to a critical mass, you can literally step out of the entire technical aspects of the business. And what I mean by that is the sales process, right? Because every business has three functions. You have the entrepreneur, you have the manager, and you have the technician. The technician is to do, the manager is to get the do done, and this guy is to have the vision, or gal, for the company, the enterprise, right? So a manager shouldn't be doing the work. A technician should be doing the work. The entrepreneur shouldn't be doing the work. And so when you get all these things lined up, then you can actually step out of this and you can just hire a full-time commission salesperson. And now you are having somebody working, or somebody's multiples, working 40, 50 hours a week, exclusively focused on generating you recurring income. Can you do that with your current gig? Can you do that with your current job? Can you do that with your current setup? If no, change. Okay? So you only want to work with businesses that pass all three. Let's recap. Mistake number one, chasing new logos when everybody else is freezing their budgets. Number two, selling one-time solutions in a recurring crisis. Number three, targeting everybody when only 20% or less are going to survive. So here's the truth. The sales professionals that are going to build the recurring income streams in the next 90 days, they're going to own the next 3 to 10 years. Literally going to own it. They're going to own it because what they're going to do is they're going to do this. They are going to build a platform. I'm going to wrap here and then we'll get into some questions. They're going to build a platform that looks like this. This is one you want to take a screenshot of. Okay. These are all the businesses that they're currently working with. But what's going to happen is tomorrow we're going to have agentic AI. So that means this business now becomes this business because you're able to offer more. You're able to upgrade them more. You're able to serve them more. You're able to deliver them more value. And you're already the one that has the relationship. Unlike if you don't have a relationship, the first sale is the hardest. So if a new agentic service comes online and you've got to go into the marketplace to acquire clients, that's going to take a lot of energy. But if we go back to the asymmetrical return, when the new capacity comes online and is ready for prime time, you're going to make that change with a phone call. Think about that. You got a portfolio of 20 businesses. New capacity comes online. It's ready for production. You call them up and you upgrade this vast swath of income. People are doubling their income overnight with this stuff. And we're only getting started with the additional capacity. Because currently, we can do, let's say, this much with AI. As this agentic capacity unfolds and we learn how to use it and we learn how to deploy it, there's going to be so much more that we can help the business with. Things like automating processes and just it's hard to even articulate. It's so crazy what's happening right now. So you're going to build this platform, and if your income is here today, let's just say this represents the diameter of your platform, right? And this is a bunch of different businesses. Tomorrow, as there's additional capacity, this is what's going to happen to your income with relatively no work because you've structured things right. So they have a certain system delivering value. We'll call it non-agentic AI. Agentic AI comes, that thing is bumped off, and a superior system now replaces it. Well, they're going to have to pay for that, right? There's upgrading, there's coding, there's technology, but they're happy to because they know you, they like you, they trust you, they've been paying you, they've been receiving yield. And so that's tomorrow. Next year, it's going to be that. As entire ways of doing business are now disrupted. And they no longer need salespeople because AI has taken over the sales function, which is where we're at. One of my coaches saw a video and he was shocked. And it was a Zoom call with an AI human closing deals. Yo, we're 3 to 6 months away from that. So now you've talked to a business about this much. Now this whole new capacity unwraps, and now you can say, hey, you know what? Let's talk about this. We can now have this capacity, and we can now do this thing. And so that's why I say over the next 3 to 5 years, the people, sales pros, agencies, entrepreneurs, white collar, who get on this and do it right, don't sell it as a commodity, don't race to the bottom, you have no freaking idea what is in store. And that's an absolute guaranteed fact. Don't be the kind of person that looks back at this time in history and is kicking yourself for not taking advantage of it. Right? How many of us did that with mobile websites, online advertising, websites in general? We can domain names. We can look at all these trends and themes and we're like, shoot, I missed that one. Don't miss this one. All lights are green. Okay, let's hop in. And again, if y'all want our help with this, book a 15-minute call. We will walk you through what we do, how we do it. Our program is not free. In the same way you can sign up for a college tuition, you can pay cash or you can finance. If you leverage financing, you're looking at around $450 a month if you qualify. And we help you with attraction of SMBs, booking appointments with SMBs, our conversion process to enroll SMBs, and we handle all of the fulfillment. So you can stay in a lane and you can focus on making rain and expanding your circle. Okay? You leverage our offer, we leverage your sales ability. That's the partnership. All right? So let's pop into questions here. Let me see if I can find them. I guess I got to stop share. Questions. I thought I saw one pop up somewhere. Yeah, I don't. Maybe they retracted the question. So if y'all have any questions, happy to answer them. It could be about what we've talked about here. It could be about anything else. It could be about our Skool group. Listen, we got 90% of the system mapped in the Skool group. You get our scripts, you get our process, you get our ads, you get all that stuff. We give you just about everything we can. And so if you have a question, go ahead and, oh, here's somebody who raised their hand. Jennifer. Sweet. Jennifer, go ahead and type your question into the Q&A, please. And I will be happy to answer that for you. And depending on the question, I might just unmute you. I just want to see kind of what you're wanting to discuss, and then we can go from there. So you should be able to click on a Q&A, and you should be able to type in your question. And let me take a look at that, and then we'll rock and roll. So again, y'all, it's been great to visit. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for hanging loose. Last week we didn't have a sesh because my son, our youngest, started their first day of school, and we got a little tradition where I go pick him up and we go do some fun stuff. Normally we go hiking, but this year he wanted to go to Walmart, and we bought a couple of Nintendo Switch video games. So that was kind of cool. We found one with a stray cat. It's called Stray, and it's actually surprisingly interesting. It was fun. We beat it. Took us, I think, 3 or 4 days. So anyway, but we should be pretty well on schedule going forward every Thursdays. So it looks like Jennifer has left the building. Okay. Hey, y'all. God bless. Think and grow rich. All right. We'll see you soon.